You are not here by chance. This moment, this very video has reached you because something inside you is ready to awaken. You have not come across these words by coincidence, nor is it a mere happenstance that you are listening right now. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows that you are prepared to step into a new level of understanding, to begin shaping your reality through the power of your imagination. There is a deep unspoken truth within you that is waiting to be recognized, the truth that your desires, your dreams, are already within your grasp. You need only to align with the power that lies within you to manifest them into your reality. What you must understand is that the universe is always responding to you, but it is not responding to your words alone, nor to your outward actions. It responds to your state of mind, to your inner beliefs, and most importantly, to your assumptions about yourself and the world around you. The things you have assumed to be true will shape your reality. Everything you experience in life, from the smallest details to the greatest achievements, comes from what you have accepted as true within yourself. This is not a mere theory. This is the way the universe operates. You see, when you assume that something is already true, you begin to align yourself with the energy that brings it into being. This process is not about waiting for the world to change or for the right circumstances to appear. It is about changing the way you think and feel, aligning your inner world with the outcome you desire. The moment you begin to truly believe that what you want is already yours, the universe must align with that belief and bring it into manifestation. The law is simple, but it is also immensely powerful. It works whether you are aware of it or not, whether you understand it or not. The world around you is simply a reflection of your internal state. So let us begin with the understanding that you are always creating your reality, whether consciously or unconsciously. The world does not simply act upon you, it reflects the beliefs and assumptions that you hold in your heart and mind. If you assume that you are not good enough, that success is out of reach, or that your dreams are impossible, then your outer world will reflect those beliefs. But if you assume that you are worthy, that your desires are already in your life, and that the universe is conspiring in your favor, you will begin to see those things materialize. It is essential to understand that your assumptions are not just passive thoughts. They are active forces that shape your experience. The moment you begin to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are stepping into a state of being where that wish has already been realized. This state is not about hoping or wishing for something to happen. It is about living in the belief that what you desire has already come to pass. It is feeling the emotions, seeing the images, and living in the energy of what you want, as though it has already happened. In this state, there is no room for doubt, no space for questioning the possibility of your desires coming true. You are already living in the end result. At this point, you might wonder how this works. How can you simply assume something to be true and expect the universe to respond? The answer lies in understanding that the universe is not separate from you, it is an extension of your own mind. The external world is not an independent entity, it is a reflection of your inner thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. When you assume that something is already true, you align your inner world with the outer world. You are not waiting for the universe to bring something to you, you are assuming the end result, and the universe must yield to your assumption. This process is not about force or struggle. It is about aligning with the truth of your desires and living in that alignment until your outer world catches up. The moment you assume that your wish is already fulfilled, the universe begins to rearrange itself to bring that desire into your life. It may take some time for the physical world to reflect the changes, but rest assured, the moment you make that assumption, things begin to shift. You must remain faithful to your assumption, not wavering in doubt or impatience, but trusting that the universe is working behind the scenes to bring your desires to you. Now let us explore what it means to truly live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled means to embody the emotions, thoughts, and actions that would be present if your desire were already realized. It is not enough to merely imagine the end result, you must feel it as though it is happening right now. The more vividly you can imagine the emotions and the experiences that come with your wish fulfilled, the more power you give to that assumption. It becomes a living, breathing reality within you, and the outer world must reflect that inner reality. For example, if you desire financial abundance, do not wait until you have the money in your hands to feel abundant. Begin to feel abundant now. Feel the freedom that comes with financial security. Feel the excitement of having more than enough. Feel the joy of being able to share and give. Do not wait for the physical manifestation to arrive before you feel those emotions. The key is to live in those feelings now, to assume that the reality you desire is already yours. The moment you do this, you are aligning yourself with the very energy that will bring your desire into manifestation. But you may ask, how long do I need to do this? How long will it take for the universe to respond? The answer is simple. As long as it takes. You must remain faithful to your assumption, knowing that the universe is already at work, arranging people, events, and circumstances to bring your desire into being. Time is not a limitation. Your assumption is what matters. Trust in the process, trust in your power, and know that what you desire is already on its way. The world around you will begin to shift in ways you cannot always predict, and opportunities will arise that were once unavailable to you. People will show up in your life who can help you achieve your goals. Doors will open that seemed locked before. And you will begin to notice the signs that the universe is responding to your assumption. These signs are not coincidences, they are the universe working in harmony with your inner belief. Understand this: the moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are no longer waiting for something to happen. You are living as though it has already happened, and the world must reflect that truth. The universe does not need to wait for you to be ready in the traditional sense. It only needs you to believe that you are ready now. The moment you do that, the universe begins to work in your favor. And so, you are the creator of your reality. The world around you is simply a mirror of the assumptions you hold within yourself. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are the keys to unlocking your desires. The moment you begin to assume that your wish is already fulfilled, the universe must respond. There is no delay, no waiting period. The moment you step into the assumption of your desired outcome, you begin to see the evidence of its manifestation. You are not waiting for the world to change, the world is waiting for you to change your assumption. The power lies within you. It always has, it always will. And when you recognize this, when you align yourself with the truth of your own creative power, you will see your desires come into being. The universe is always ready to respond to your assumptions. The question is, are you ready to believe that what you desire is already yours? Imagine for a moment that everything you have ever desired is already within your reach. What if I told you that the key to unlocking those desires lies not in waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances, but in how you choose to think and feel about your desires in this very moment? This is the secret to creating the life you've always dreamed of. You are the master of your reality, and the power to manifest your desires begins with your ability to vividly imagine them and assume that they are already true. You do not need to wait for something external to shift. You must first shift from within, and in that shift, you will begin to see the world around you respond in kind. The first step in understanding the power you hold is to recognize that your imagination is not just a place where thoughts and dreams exist. It is the very fabric of reality. What you imagine and what you assume as real in your mind is what the universe brings into being. This is not some mystical theory, it is a law that governs every aspect of your life. Your imagination is not a passive tool, it is an active force. It is through your imagination that you create the world you live in, and it is through the assumption of your desires as already fulfilled that you begin to see them come to life in your external world. You may have heard people say that seeing is believing, but the truth is far more profound. It is not seeing that leads to belief, it is belief that leads to seeing. When you believe something is already true, when you imagine your desire fulfilled and truly feel it, as if it were happening right now, the outer world must begin to align with that assumption. This process may feel foreign at first, but it is the most natural thing in the world. You see, your mind cannot differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you believe something is true, the universe has no choice but to bring that truth into your reality. Now let us consider for a moment what it truly means to imagine your desires as already fulfilled. To imagine something is not just to picture it in your mind's eye or to think about it as a distant possibility. It is to immerse yourself in the experience of it. It is to feel the emotions, the excitement, the joy, and the sense of fulfillment as though it is happening right now. The more vividly you can imagine your desires, the more real they become. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are not just wishing or hoping for it to happen. You are living in the state of that desire, and in doing so, you align yourself with the energy that will bring it to life. When you step into this feeling of fulfillment, you must do so without hesitation or doubt. Doubt is the enemy of manifestation. If you imagine your desires and then allow doubt to creep in, you are counteracting the very assumption you've made. It's not enough to simply think about your desires, you must live as though they are already yours. You must embody the feeling of fulfillment and remain in that state even when circumstances seem to contradict it. Remember, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you want to see change in your life, you must first change the way you feel about it. Assume in the deepest part of yourself that your desires are already fulfilled, and the universe will respond to that assumption. This is where the power of belief comes into play. Many people make the mistake of thinking that belief is something that happens to them, something that they must wait for. But the truth is that belief is something you can create. The moment you choose to believe something, you are already aligned with it. You do not need to wait for external evidence before you believe in your desires. In fact, it is the opposite. You must believe first, and the evidence will follow. The belief in your desires, coupled with the assumption that they are already true, is the key to unlocking the creative power within you. Now, let's take a closer look at how this belief works in your life. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are essentially stepping into a new state of being. This state is not a temporary mindset, it is a way of life. It is a permanent shift in your perception. Once you have assumed the feeling of fulfillment, you will begin to see the world in a completely different way. Opportunities will present themselves to you that were previously hidden, and paths will open up that you never thought possible. This is not a coincidence. The world is responding to your new state of being. Your assumptions are the blueprint, and the universe is building your reality according to that blueprint. This process is not something that happens overnight, but it is a gradual unfolding. It is like planting a seed in the ground. At first, you may not see any evidence of growth, but you know that beneath the surface, the roots are beginning to take hold. The more you tend to that seed, the more you nurture it with the belief that it will grow into something magnificent, the more likely it is that you will begin to see the fruits of your labor. It is the same with your desires. As you continue to imagine them and live in the feeling of their fulfillment, they begin to take root in your life. And just as the seed eventually grows into a beautiful plant, your desires will eventually manifest into physical reality. However, it is important to note that this process requires patience. The world around you may not shift immediately, but that does not mean that nothing is happening. The universe is always working behind the scenes to align things in your favor. Trust that your desires are already in motion, even when you cannot see the immediate evidence of it. The key is to remain faithful to your assumption, knowing that the universe will bring everything to you in the perfect time and in the perfect way. This is where the concept of living in the end result becomes so important. It is easy to become discouraged when you don't see immediate changes in your circumstances, but the truth is that the changes are already happening within you. As you continue to live in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled, you are creating the foundation for them to appear in your life. It is not about forcing things to happen. It is about aligning with the truth of your desires and trusting that the universe will bring them into your experience. You see, when you begin to live as though your desires are already a reality, you are tapping into a power that transcends the physical world. You are not waiting for the world to change before you feel abundant, successful, or happy. You are choosing to feel those things now, and in doing so, you are aligning yourself with the energy that will bring those experiences to you. The key is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and to remain faithful to that assumption, knowing that the outer world will eventually reflect the changes you have made within. When you truly understand this, when you truly embrace the power of assumption, you will see how your life begins to transform. Your desires are not distant dreams, they are already yours, waiting to be realized. And the moment you decide to live as though they are already here, you will begin to see the evidence of that truth in your world. You are not waiting for the world to change, you are the one who must change. The very nature of your reality is shaped by the beliefs and assumptions that you carry within you. It's not about waiting for some external event to align with your desires or for the world to offer you a sign. No, the sign is within you, and the change begins with your inner assumption. The world outside you is nothing more than a mirror reflecting back the beliefs and assumptions you hold about yourself and the world around you. If you can change the way you assume things to be, you will see the world begin to mirror those assumptions back to you. It may seem difficult at first to grasp the idea that you, as an individual, have such power over the world you experience. We are often conditioned to believe that the world is separate from us, that we are subject to forces beyond our control, and that our circumstances determine who we are and what we can achieve. But nothing could be further from the truth. The external world is not some random series of events happening to you. It is a direct reflection of your inner state, of the thoughts, feelings, and assumptions that you carry with you every moment of your life. Every single moment you are making assumptions about yourself, about others, and about the world. These assumptions shape your reality, and they will continue to shape your experiences until you choose to change them. The moment you decide that something is already true, the universe responds. It does not matter how impossible it may seem or how far away it may feel. The only thing that matters is what you assume to be true right now. That assumption will become your reality. Let us take a moment to consider how this works in practical terms. If you want to change your life, you must first change your assumptions. If you assume that you are not good enough, that you cannot succeed, or that your desires are unattainable, the world will reflect that back to you. This is not some abstract concept. This is the reality of how things work. The universe responds to your assumptions, not to your desires, not to your dreams, but to what you assume is possible. Now, the key to changing your assumptions is not simply to try to think positive thoughts or repeat affirmations. The key is to truly believe with every fiber of your being that what you desire is already true. You must step into the feeling of that desire as though it has already been fulfilled. This is not about pretending or fantasizing. It is about fully embodying the belief that the thing you desire is already here. Feel the emotions that would come with the fulfillment of that desire. See yourself living the life you wish to live, and do it with conviction. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the world must respond. It cannot do anything else. It may seem counterintuitive at first, especially if your current circumstances are far from what you desire. But this is where the power of assumption comes in. Your current circumstances do not define you, they only reflect the assumptions you have made in the past. The moment you change your assumptions, your outer world must change to reflect that new inner reality. It doesn't matter how long you've been stuck in your current circumstances or how impossible it seems to make a change. The moment you decide that your assumptions are different, the universe begins to align itself with those assumptions. The process of changing your assumptions requires deep trust in your inner power. It requires faith in the unseen forces that are always working on your behalf, even when you can't yet see the evidence in the physical world. This is where most people get stuck. They begin to assume that their desires are already true, but when they don't see immediate results, they lose faith and return to their old assumptions. But you must remain steadfast. The universe responds to your persistent assumption, not to your momentary doubts. The moment you make the decision to assume that your desire is already fulfilled, you must remain in that state, regardless of what the outer world is showing you. When you change your assumptions, you are not just changing your thoughts. You are changing your entire state of being. Your state of being is the emotional and mental state that you carry with you throughout each day. If you walk through life assuming that you are not enough, that your dreams are out of reach, or that the world is working against you, that will become your experience. But if you walk through life assuming that your desires are already fulfilled, that everything you need is already on its way, and that you are worthy of all the good things life has to offer, that will also become your experience. This is where the power of assumption becomes transformational. Your assumptions are not just passive thoughts that come and go, they are active forces that shape your reality. When you assume that something is true, the universe must respond to that assumption. It has no choice. The moment you step into the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled, you are aligning yourself with the energy that will bring them into being. This is not about effort or struggle, it is about alignment. The moment you align your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with your desires, the universe begins to rearrange itself to bring those desires into your life. The world is constantly responding to your assumptions. If you assume that life is hard, that things never go your way, or that you are destined for failure, the world will reflect those assumptions back to you. But if you assume that life is full of opportunities, that success is inevitable, and that you are worthy of all the good things life has to offer, the world will reflect that back to you as well. It is all about the assumption you make. You have the power to decide right now that your life will be different. You can assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the world will respond in kind. This is not a passive process, it requires your active participation. You must not only think the thoughts of your desired reality, but you must feel them deeply. You must embody the emotions of your fulfilled desires as though they are happening right now. When you do this, you are sending out a powerful signal to the universe, and it has no choice but to respond. The more vividly you can imagine your desires as already fulfilled, the more real they become. And the more real they become in your mind, the more quickly they will manifest in your life. But remember, this is not about waiting for the world to change before you believe. It is about believing first, and then watching the world change to match your belief. This is the secret. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the universe begins to work on your behalf. The moment you decide that you are worthy, that your desires are already yours, everything around you begins to align to bring them to you. The key to transforming your life is in the assumptions you make. Not in waiting for the world to change, not in hoping for things to improve, but in changing your inner assumptions and trusting that the universe will reflect those changes back to you. Your desires are already yours, waiting for you to align with them. The moment you step into that assumption, the universe begins to work in your favor. The world outside you must mirror the assumptions you hold within you. So, choose your assumptions wisely, for they are the keys to the life you are about to create. You may have heard the expression, "you are what you believe." While this phrase may seem simplistic, it holds a deeper, profound truth. The way you see yourself, the way you believe you are capable of achieving your desires, directly influences the way your life unfolds. Your identity, the version of yourself that you carry within your consciousness, is the foundation of everything you experience. The truth is, if you change the way you see yourself, if you begin to embody the assumption of your future self, then your outer world must shift to reflect that change. The most important realization you can make is that you are not a passive observer of life. You are the creator of your reality. The life you are living right now is a result of the assumptions you have made about yourself and the world around you. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are not just abstract concepts, they are powerful forces that actively shape your reality. Every assumption you make, whether conscious or subconscious, becomes a blueprint that the universe follows to bring your experiences into being. Therefore, the key to transforming your life lies in the ability to change the assumptions you hold about yourself and the world. The starting point for change is the belief that you can change. Many people are limited by the belief that their circumstances define them. They look at their current situation, whether it's their job, relationships, financial status, or health, and assume that this is the reality they must live with. But this is not true. Your current circumstances are simply a reflection of your past assumptions. They are not set in stone. You have the ability at any moment to change your assumptions and, in doing so, change your life. To make lasting change, you must first change your self-concept. Your self-concept is the image you hold of yourself, the story you tell about who you are and what you are capable of. If you see yourself as someone who is unworthy, unsuccessful, or incapable of achieving their desires, that belief will govern your actions and experiences. On the other hand, if you see yourself as successful, capable, and deserving of all the good things life has to offer, the world will begin to reflect that belief back to you. This is where the power of assumption comes into play. If you want to change your life, you must first change the way you see yourself. You must assume the feeling of your desired self, even if you don't yet see any evidence of it in your current circumstances. The key is to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled and live as though it did lives. This is not about pretending or faking it, it is about truly assuming the identity of the person you wish to become. You must see yourself as the person who has already achieved their desires, and in doing so, you will begin to align your actions, thoughts, and emotions with that version of yourself. At first, this may feel difficult. Your old self-concept, the old identity you have carried for so long, may try to resist the new assumption. Doubt and fear may arise, and the evidence of your old reality may seem overwhelming. But it is essential to remember that the old self concept is just a habit. It is a set of beliefs that you have accumulated over time, but they are not fixed. They are malleable and you have the power to change them. The moment you decide to embody the assumption of your new self, your world will begin to change. The universe will respond to your new identity and bring experiences, opportunities, and people into your life that align with your new self concept. You will begin to see yourself differently, and others will begin to see you differently too. This is the magic of assumption. When you change the way you see yourself, the world cannot help but reflect that change back to you. But here's the catch: this process requires persistence. It is not enough to simply think positive thoughts or to occasionally remind yourself of your new self concept. You must live in the assumption of your new identity every single day. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every action you take must align with the person you are becoming. If you slip back into old patterns of thinking and self doubt, you will find that your outer world begins to mirror that back to you. But if you stay committed to your new assumption, even in the face of challenges or setbacks, you will eventually see the transformation unfold in your life. It's important to understand that this process is not about force or struggle. It is not about trying to make things happen. It is about aligning with the truth of who you truly are. Your desires are not something you need to chase after, they are already yours, waiting for you to claim them. When you assume the identity of the person who already has what you desire, you will naturally begin to take actions and make choices that lead you to your goals. Think of this process as if you were an actor preparing for a role. The actor doesn't wait for the movie to be made before they step into character. They fully embody the role before the cameras start rolling. They speak, think, and behave as the character, and through this embodiment, they bring the character to life. In the same way, you must embody the identity of the person you wish to become. And in doing so, you will bring that version of yourself into being. This process is not about trying to manipulate the world around you. It is about changing the way you experience the world through your inner assumptions. The world does not need to change for you to change. You can step into your desired self right now, and the world will naturally reflect that change. This is the beauty of the law of assumption. The moment you change your internal assumptions, everything around you must begin to align with that new reality. You may also find that, as you begin to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, certain people, situations, and opportunities will appear in your life that help you to embody your new self. These experiences are not random. They are the result of your new assumptions coming into alignment with your external reality. The more you live in the assumption of your new self, the more these opportunities will flow to you. But remember, the key is consistency. It is not enough to assume your new identity once and then wait for results. You must live in the assumption of your new self every moment, knowing that this process is unfolding and that the world will reflect your new identity back to you. This is the path to true transformation. When you change your assumptions, you change your identity, and when you change your identity, you change your life. The power to create the life you desire lies within you, and it begins with the assumption of your future self. The moment you step into that assumption, everything around you begins to shift in your favor. The world responds to who you believe yourself to be. So step boldly into the person you wish to become, and the universe will move mountains to bring that version of yourself into being. It is often said that the power of imagination is one of the most potent forces in the world, yet few truly understand the depth of this truth. You are not merely a passive observer of life, a recipient of circumstances that are imposed upon you. You are an active creator, constantly shaping and molding your reality. The most remarkable tool you possess in this creation is your imagination. It is through imagination that you connect with the infinite possibilities available to you. The world that surrounds you is not set in stone. It is malleable, and it is your imagination that shapes it. The imagination is not just a mental escape or a daydreaming device. It is the very mechanism through which you bring your desires into being. When you begin to understand the true nature of your imagination, you realize that it is not a mere fleeting thought or a passing fancy. It is the doorway through which the unseen is made manifest. Everything in your life, from the smallest detail to the grandest event, is born first from an idea in your mind, an image or feeling that you hold in your consciousness. This is not to say that these things simply appear out of thin air. No, they come into being as a result of your sustained, focused attention on them. The more vividly you can imagine your desires, the more they become real, not just in your mind, but in the physical world around you. Imagination is not a passive event, it is an active one. You must intentionally create the world you want to see, not as a distant dream, but as something that already exists waiting for you to step into it. The key to understanding the power of imagination is in recognizing that your outer reality is only a reflection of your inner assumptions. What you believe to be true about yourself and the world becomes the lens through which you view everything. When you engage your imagination to vividly picture and feel your desires as already fulfilled, you shift your internal assumptions and align your external world with that new belief. Imagine for a moment that you are a sculptor with a block of stone before you. This block represents the raw material of your life, the circumstances you find yourself in. It may appear to be solid, unyielding, and unchangeable, but as the sculptor, you have the power to mold it into something entirely new. Your imagination is the tool that shapes this block, chiseling away the old beliefs and assumptions, and replacing them with the new you wish to create. Every thought, every feeling, and every image you hold in your mind is like a stroke of the chisel, carving the life you desire. The process of using your imagination to create your reality is not about wishing or hoping. It is about truly embodying the state of having already received your desire. When you imagine, you must not simply picture the end result as a possibility, you must feel it, experience it as if it is happening in the present moment. This is the essence of imagination. It is not a tool for projecting into the future, it is a way of living in the present moment as if your desires are already realized. This is where the magic happens. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are aligning yourself with the vibrational frequency of that desire. The law of assumption works in perfect harmony with the law of attraction, but it takes it a step further. You do not have to wait for the universe to send you signs or make things happen. Instead, you become the signal, the transmitter, sending out the frequency of your desire to the world, and it must respond. As you imagine your desires as already fulfilled, the world begins to shift in ways that you may not even be aware of, aligning itself with the new assumption you have made. However, this process requires you to engage deeply with your imagination. It is not enough to simply think about your desires occasionally. To bring them into being, you must saturate your mind with the image of them. Every time you close your eyes, imagine yourself living the life you want. Feel the emotions associated with that life, the excitement, the joy, the peace. Immerse yourself in the experience as though it is already your reality. This is not an intellectual exercise, it is an emotional and mental one. The more real you can make it feel, the more your mind and body will begin to respond to that feeling. Imagination in its highest form is not a detached, idle fantasy. It is a living, breathing experience that you actively create. It requires focus, discipline, and faith in the unseen forces that are at work. As you engage with your imagination, you must trust that the images you are creating in your mind are not just fleeting thoughts, but are shaping the very foundation of your future reality. This trust is crucial because doubt is the only thing that can interfere with the process. When you imagine something and then doubt its possibility, you are sending conflicting signals to the universe. But when you fully embrace the feeling of your desire as already fulfilled, the universe must respond accordingly. This is where many people go wrong. They imagine their desires for a short time and then wonder why nothing changes. They are not fully immersed in the feeling of fulfillment, and so they send mixed signals. If you want to create lasting change in your life, you must be unwavering in your belief that your desire is already on its way. The moment you step into the feeling of having already received it, you begin to create the space for it to manifest. Your imagination is not bound by the limitations of time and space. In the realm of imagination, there are no barriers. You can go anywhere, do anything, and be anyone. The more you engage with your imagination, the more you realize that the world you see with your physical eyes is just one version of reality, and it is constantly shifting and changing. The version of the world you experience is the one that aligns with your dominant thoughts and feelings. When you begin to imagine yourself as living the life you desire, you align your inner world with the outer world, and the universe begins to match your new assumptions. Your imagination is not a dream or a fantasy. It is a tool for creation. It is the bridge between your inner world and the outer world. Every time you imagine yourself in your desired state, you are sending out a signal to the universe that this is your new reality. You are no longer waiting for the world to give you permission to succeed, to find love, to experience abundance. You are creating it through your imagination, and as you do so, the world begins to shift to match that new creation. The power of imagination lies not in its ability to escape the present moment, but in its ability to shape that moment. Every time you use your imagination to envision your desires as already fulfilled, you are reprogramming your mind and setting the stage for your future. The more vividly you imagine, the more real it becomes. The more real it becomes, the more the world begins to conform to that reality. You are not a passive observer. You are the creator of your life, and it is through your imagination that you shape the world around you. The life you desire is not a distant dream or a far-off fantasy. It is not something that you must work tirelessly to earn or hope will come to you after you have effort. The life you want exists in the present moment, waiting for you to claim it. But this is where many people get caught in the trap of the waiting game. They wait for the right circumstances, the perfect moment, or for some external force to intervene and make things easier. But the reality is that your desires are already yours. They are already on their way to you. The only thing standing in the way of their manifestation is your belief that they are not yet real. In order to manifest the life you desire, you must stop waiting for the world to change before you act. The key to unlocking the life you've always dreamed of is in understanding that the change you seek begins with you right now. It's not about waiting for the right time, the right circumstances, or the right people. It's about stepping into the assumption that everything you desire is already true, that it is already a part of your present reality. Most people fall into the trap of waiting because they believe their circumstances dictate their reality. They look at their current life and think that because they are not yet experiencing their desires, those desires are somehow out of reach. This could not be further from the truth. Your current circumstances are nothing more than a reflection of the assumptions you have held in the past. They are the result of your previous beliefs and thoughts about who you are and what is possible for you. But once you understand the power you have to change your assumptions, your circumstances begin to change as well. Imagine for a moment that you are living your desired life right now. Picture yourself experiencing the success, the abundance, the love, or whatever it is that you desire. In this moment, as you close your eyes and visualize your perfect reality, it is already true. The only difference between this moment and the physical manifestation of your desires is that you are not yet fully embodying the assumption of that reality. But once you shift your focus, once you decide to fully embody the belief that your desires are already yours, the universe must reflect that belief back to you. The most important thing to understand here is that your desires are not separate from you. They are already a part of you. They exist within you, waiting to be realized. The reason you have a desire is because it is meant for you. It is already on its way to you, and all you need to do is step into the assumption that it is already yours. This is the key to living the life you've always wanted, not waiting for something external to change, but realizing that the change you seek begins with you. The moment you stop waiting and start living as if your desires have already been fulfilled, the world begins to shift around you. It is not about forcing things to happen or trying to manipulate the world. It is about aligning yourself with the truth of who you are and the desires that are already within you. The universe does not respond to your desperation or your sense of lack. It responds to your assumption, your belief that your desires are already true. You see, most people wait because they believe they are not worthy or capable of having what they want. They wait for external circumstances to tell them it's time to act, to tell them they are deserving. But this belief that you are unworthy or undeserving is an illusion. You are deserving of everything you desire because your desires are already a part of you. When you understand this truth, you no longer need to wait for permission. You no longer need to wait for the right time because the right time is now. It's time to stop waiting for the world to give you a sign, for the perfect moment to arrive, or for your circumstances to change. The only thing you need to wait for is the moment you decide to step into the belief that your desires are already true. The moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, everything around you will begin to shift to reflect that new assumption. When you stop waiting and start living as if your desires are already true, You align yourself with the energy that is needed to bring them into being. The universe responds to your assumption and begins to rearrange circumstances, people, and events to match the reality you have created within yourself. It does not matter how impossible it may seem or how long it has taken for you to arrive at this point. What matters is that you begin to live in the live assumption that your desires are already fulfilled. This process of stepping into the assumption of your desired reality may feel uncomfortable at first. You may encounter doubts or fears, or you may find that your current circumstances do not immediately reflect your new assumptions. But this is the moment of truth. The moment you choose to stop waiting and start living as though your desires are already real, you are creating a new reality. The old reality will begin to fade away as your new assumption takes root. It's essential to understand that the physical world operates on a different time scale than the inner world. Your assumptions and beliefs create the inner world, the world of thought and feeling, and this inner world precedes the outer world. The outer world must follow the lead of your inner world. So even though your current circumstances may not reflect your desires immediately, know that the universe is already responding to your new assumptions. It is rearranging the world to bring your desires into physical form. The shift from waiting to living in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled is one of the most powerful shifts you can make. This shift changes everything. It transforms the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you interact with the world. Once you stop waiting and start living in the assumption of your fulfilled desires, you begin to radiate a new energy, an energy that draws your desires to you. Your reality starts to conform to the truth you have accepted within yourself. So, let go of the idea that you need to wait for the world to change. Your desires are already yours. The moment you stop waiting and begin to live in the assumption that they are already true, you will begin to see the world around you shift in profound ways. It is not about waiting for the right time, it is about realizing that the time is now. Your desires are already on their way to you, and all you need to do is claim them by stepping into the assumption that they are already fulfilled. When you do this, you will see the world rearrange itself to match the truth you have accepted within yourself. The most powerful force in the universe is the mind, and within the mind, the most powerful tool you have is your inner conversation. What you say to yourself, the dialogue you carry within your mind, determines the course of your life. These internal conversations, often unnoticed, are the ones that shape your experiences more than any external event could. Your world is a direct reflection of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your internal conversation. So, if you wish to change the circumstances of your life, you must begin with the conversation happening in your mind. The power of inner conversation cannot be overstated. It is not simply the things you consciously say to yourself when you are aware that you are thinking. It is also the background chatter that goes on beneath the surface, the quiet whispers of self-doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs that you may not even realize are shaping your reality. These internal dialogues, whether positive or negative, are the seeds from which your reality grows. What you repeatedly tell yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously, becomes the script for your life. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a stage, and the thoughts you have are the actors playing out the scenes of your life. If the actors are telling the story of struggle, lack, or limitation, then that is what will be reflected in your reality. If the actors are telling a story of abundance, success, and fulfillment, that is what will come to pass. The key to transforming your life lies in rewriting the script of your inner conversation, aligning it with the story you wish to experience. The conversation you have with yourself is far more important than the conversation you have with others. While external conversations may influence you, they are far less significant than the words you speak to yourself in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It is in these moments, when you are alone with your thoughts, that the most profound shifts can take place. You must ask yourself, what are you saying to yourself when you look in the mirror? What do you tell yourself when you face a challenge? What is the internal narrative you run when you encounter a setback? The reason that inner conversation is so powerful is that it directly influences your belief system. Your beliefs are simply the thoughts you have repeatedly accepted as truth. They are the stories you have told yourself so many times that they have become your reality. If you want to change your life, you must first change the conversation you are having with yourself. You must replace the old, limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones. This is not about ignoring your current reality or pretending that everything is perfect. It is about choosing to shift your focus away from what is and instead focus on what you desire. For example, if you are constantly telling yourself that you are not good enough, that you will never succeed, or that you are unworthy of love, your world will reflect these beliefs back to you. The people you meet, the opportunities you encounter, and the way life unfolds will all be in alignment with the story you are telling yourself. But when you begin to tell yourself a different story, one of success, worthiness, and abundance, your life will begin to mirror that new narrative. Changing your inner conversation is not a one-time event, it is an ongoing practice. It requires conscious effort to change the patterns of thought that have become ingrained over time. The more you consciously choose to speak kindly to yourself, to affirm your worth, and to imagine the life you desire, the more these thoughts will become automatic. Eventually, your inner dialogue will align with the life you want to experience, and your external world will follow suit. One of the most effective ways to shift your inner conversation is through affirmations. Affirmations are positive present tense statements that you repeat to yourself in order to reprogram your subconscious mind. For example, if you desire financial abundance, you might repeat the affirmation, I am wealthy, abundant, and deserving of all the good things life has to offer. The key to affirmations is not just saying the words, it is feeling the truth of those words in your body. When you affirm something, you must feel the emotions that come with it. If you are affirming abundance, feel the excitement, the joy, and the peace of already having what you desire. Another powerful tool in transforming your inner conversation is visualization. Visualization is the act of vividly imagining yourself already living the life you desire. See yourself in the perfect relationship, living in the home of your dreams, or enjoying the career success you crave. Engage all of your senses in this visualization. What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it smell like, sound like, or taste like? The more real you can make this experience in your mind, the more quickly it will begin to manifest in your external world. In order to make these tools effective, you must be persistent. You cannot expect instant results, as your current circumstances are a reflection of the inner conversations you have had up to this point. But if you persist in changing your internal dialogue, you will eventually see the external world begin to shift. The key is to continue, even when you don't see immediate evidence of change. Trust the process and trust that your inner conversation is powerful enough to shape your reality. It is also important to be aware of the negative conversations that may arise, especially in moments of stress or uncertainty. When challenges arise, it is easy to slip back into old patterns of thinking. You may begin to tell yourself that things will never improve or that you are not capable of achieving your goals. In these moments, you must consciously choose to redirect your thoughts. Instead of focusing on what you don't want, turn your attention to what you do want. Replace thoughts of lack with thoughts of abundance, thoughts of limitation with thoughts of possibility. One of the most profound aspects of this practice is that you are the creator of your own reality. You are not at the mercy of external circumstances. You are the author of the story of your life, and the words you use in your inner conversation are the ink with which you write that story. If you want to change the plot, you must change the words. The more you consciously choose to speak kindly to yourself, to believe in your worth and your ability to achieve your desires, the more the world will reflect that belief back to you. It is essential to understand that your inner conversation is not just a reflection of your thoughts, it is a mirror of your beliefs. If you change the way you talk to yourself, you are changing the way you believe about yourself. And when you change your beliefs, you change your life. The world around you will begin to reflect the new story you are telling. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will present themselves, and your circumstances will shift in ways that align with the new narrative you have created. The power of inner conversation is one of the most profound tools available to you. It is the key to unlocking the life you desire. By consciously shifting your internal dialogue, you take control of your destiny. You are no longer a passive observer, you are an active creator, and the words you speak to yourself shape the reality you experience. It is time to take charge of your inner conversation and create the life you were always meant to live. The world around you is not fixed. It is constantly shifting, constantly responding to the energy, thoughts, and feelings you project into it. Many people go through life believing that their reality is something external, something they must conform to, something they must accept as it is. They look at their circumstances, their challenges, and their desires, and they believe they must wait for the world to change before they can experience their desires. But this belief is a misconception. The truth is, you are not a passive observer in your life. You are an active creator. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your assumptions about yourself and the world shape the life you live. Your reality is the reflection of your inner world, and it is not bound by what is visible right now. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that your current circumstances are permanent, that they define who you are and what you can achieve. The house you live in, the job you have, the relationships you are in, they all seem to be solid facts of your life. But these are only temporary states. Your external reality is not fixed. It is a mirror of your inner beliefs and assumptions. Everything you see around you is the result of what you have believed to be true about yourself and the world. Your world is constantly reflecting back to you the energy you are putting out, and it is only when you change your beliefs, your assumptions, and the energy you project that your external reality will begin to change. The most important thing to understand is that the circumstances you are facing today are not a reflection of your worth or your potential. They are simply the result of what you have accepted as true in the past. But once you realize that your circumstances are not set in stone, that they can change in an instant based on your beliefs and assumptions, you begin to unlock the power to create the life you truly desire. The first step in changing your reality is understanding that you must stop looking at the world around you as something external to you, something that controls you. You must start seeing your external world as the reflection of your internal world. The world outside of you is simply mirroring your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs. If you want to change your life, you must change what is happening inside of you. It is not enough to focus on the outside world, hoping that it will change. Instead, you must focus on changing your inner dialogue, your inner beliefs, and your inner assumptions. Think about it this way: if you want to change the movie you are watching, you don't change the film itself. You change the way you are interpreting it, the way you are viewing it. The world around you is like the screen of a movie, and you are the one holding the remote. When you begin to change the way you view your life, your assumptions about what is possible for you, the external world will shift in response. Your thoughts and feelings are powerful forces. They shape your reality in ways that you may not fully realize. Every moment you spend thinking negatively about your circumstances or about your future, you are sending out energy that perpetuates those circumstances. Every moment you focus on what you don't want, you are inadvertently attracting more of it into your life. This is why it is so important to guard your thoughts and to be intentional with the energy you put out into the world. It is not enough to simply wish for things to be different. It is not enough to hope that things will change on their own. The world responds to the energy you put out, and that energy comes from your thoughts, your assumptions, and your beliefs. If you continue to hold on to old beliefs about yourself or the world, then your external reality will remain the same. But when you change the way you think, when you change the way you feel about yourself and your circumstances, the universe must respond. One of the most powerful ways to change your reality is by shifting your focus. When you focus on what you want rather than what you don't want, you begin to direct the flow of energy in a new direction. It's easy to get caught up in the challenges and difficulties of life, to focus on the things that aren't working. But this only serves to keep you locked in the same patterns. Instead, begin to shift your focus to the things you want to create in your life. Begin to imagine the life you desire and immerse yourself in the feelings of already having it. When you focus on your desires as if they are already fulfilled, you are sending out a message to the universe that this is your truth. You are no longer waiting for your circumstances to change before you feel good or before you take action. You are choosing to live in the feeling of fulfillment right now. And when you do, your external reality begins to shift to reflect that feeling. The key is to live as though your desires are already true, to assume that they are already a part of your reality, even if you cannot yet see evidence of them in the physical world. This process requires patience and persistence. It is not about forcing things to happen or trying to control the outcome. It is about trusting that your inner world has the power to shape your external world. When you focus on what you want, and when you believe that it is already yours, the world will begin to rearrange itself to bring your desires into being. You do not have to see how it will happen. You do not have to know the exact path. All you need to do is stay focused on your desired outcome and trust that the universe will find a way to deliver it to you. The world is constantly shifting in response to your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. Your beliefs create your reality, and when you change your beliefs, your reality must change as well. It is not a matter of waiting for something outside of you to change. It is a matter of changing the way you view yourself, your life, and your circumstances. When you do this, the world will respond. You are the creator of your reality, and your external world will always reflect what is happening inside of you. If you are struggling with challenges in your life, remember that these challenges are not a reflection of who you are. They are simply the result of the beliefs you have held in the past. But these beliefs are not fixed, and they do not have to define your future. You have the power to change your beliefs, to change the way you see yourself, and to change the way you interact with the world. And when you do, the world will shift to match your new beliefs. It is time to stop waiting for the world to change before you act. It is time to stop waiting for your circumstances to align with your desires. Your reality is a reflection of your inner world, and when you change your beliefs and assumptions, your outer world will change as well. The power is in your hands, and it is up to you to claim the life you desire. When you begin to see the world as a reflection of your inner beliefs, you unlock the ability to create a reality that aligns with your deepest desires. As we bring this journey to a close, it's clear that the life you desire is not something distant or unattainable. The world around you, with all its experiences and circumstances, is a direct reflection of your inner state, your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. Everything that you see in your external world is shaped by the energy and mindset you carry within. You are not bound by your current circumstances, they are merely the result of past thoughts and assumptions that have already been made. But you have the power to change that, starting with the way you perceive and think about yourself and the world around you. The key to unlocking the life you desire is not to wait for the perfect moment or for the world to change first. It lies in assuming the truth of your desires right now, living as though they are already fulfilled, and aligning your inner conversation and beliefs with that truth. The moment you stop waiting for permission or external validation, and instead choose to embody the assumption that your desires are already yours, the world around you will begin to shift to match that energy. Remember, your thoughts are not just fleeting ideas, they are the seeds that will grow into your reality. By consciously shifting your internal dialogue, focusing on what you truly want, and embracing the belief that your desires are already yours, you take control of the narrative of your life. The universe will always reflect your inner beliefs, responding to the energy you emit. So, stop waiting for the world to change before you act. The change you seek begins within you, and it starts the moment you decide to believe in the truth of your desires. You have the power to transform your life from the inside out, to create a reality that reflects your deepest dreams and aspirations. The life you want is already on its way, waiting for you to step into the assumption that it is already true. Now is the time to claim it. The journey begins within, and the world around you will follow.